Welcome to the Abundance Journey, the show that helps spiritual entrepreneurs create an abundance mindset that accelerates revenue. Secretly, everything you experience in your life is actually abundance. Once you understand how to activate abundance, you find yourself in flow with your business and clients, so it's easy to create the revenue you want. The Abundance Journey is the only show that activates abundance for you, so you enjoy rapid results in your business. Here's your host, the Abundance Ambassador, Elaine Starling.
I'm sure you've heard that absolutely everything is energy. I mean, even that stuff that you really, really want, like money, it's just energy, which is great. But how do we get in sync with the things, the people, the experiences, and the money that we really want to have in our lives? It turns out that the missing piece we all seem to struggle with the most has to do with our level of consciousness. That's why I'm so excited to talk with the leading expert today about the energy of money consciousness. Now, any way you look at Jackie Woodside, she's a freaking amazing expert and role model. Jackie is a USA Today and four-time Amazon bestselling author. She's a TEDx speaker like me. She's an international trainer. She's a professional coach. She's the founder of the Curriculum for Conscious Living and the Conscious Living Summit. She actually trains coaches around the world to deliver this life-changing work. So how lucky are we that we get to have this conversation? I mean, it's no wonder Jackie's been featured on TV shows with Jack Canfield and Don Miguel Ruiz. She's actually run educational summits with Marianne Williamson, Michael Beckwith, Daniel Siegel. I mean, her expertise is so widely sought after as a teacher and a speaker. Jackie just knows her stuff. I mean, she's a certified professional coach and a licensed psychotherapist with 30 years of experience in both fields. Yeah, what a slouch. The thing that I admire most about Jackie, she actually lives and embodies the energy of money consciousness. Jackie, you don't mind if we do like a Spock mind meld today or something, do you?
Oh, let's do that. Let's just do that. That was such a beautiful, beautiful intro, Elaine. Thank you so much for your energy, your love, and your passion. It's just lovely to be with you.
Oh, what a delight. I am so excited to have this conversation. Now, before we get going, because I will keep you here all day if I could, we need to start with our intention, which is what we want to create together and how we want to feel. Now, it's not only combining our energy with the energy of our listeners and our viewers, it's also combining our energy with the divine, because we don't have a script for this. This is not a pre-rehearsed kind of thing. Right. We're winging it. And we want to make sure that we're winging it in a direction that really serves us and empowers us and allows us to have that money consciousness that we all desire. So I have a specific structure for intentions. I start with in love and light, because to me, that's acknowledging that the God of your understanding is an active participant and here with us right now. Whenever you're listening to this podcast or watching the show, it's all times, all places, all the time. You're supported by the divine. So we start with in love and light, and then I share the intention, which is kind of like typing into a spiritual GPS. This is where we want to go. I always say thank you. And at the very end, I say it is done. And that's a reminder to me, to us, that we're done typing. We've done the hard part. Now, once I share the intention with you, we're going to hold it in silence for 78 seconds. I know a lot of people go, wow, that seems like a long time. The challenge is the current research shows that human beings have a shorter attention span than a goldfish, about 4 seconds. You can thank television for that. All those quick clips and stuff, we're used to constant stimulation. And as a consequence, it's really hard for the divine to figure out what we really want. We're all over the place. So when we can hold that vibration for 78 seconds, it's long enough for the divine to tap in. And Jackie's an expert at this. So it's going to be a no-brainer. We're going to have an incredible experience together. Now, there's 2 little tips that I use that make those 78 seconds really easy and fun. The first thing to do is identify two or three words that just feel expansive and uplifting and empowering and so joyful. When you think of those words, it's exactly what you want to experience. So just say them over and over again to yourself in your mind for those 78 seconds. The second thing to do is notice what's happening in your body, because your body's a great big antenna. And what we're asking the divine to do is help move the energy in this direction. I mean, we really want money consciousness, so it shows up on a regular basis for us. So noticing that the energy is moving, it might feel like goosebumps or a little bit of a heat wave. I often will feel my whole body start to expand and open with extra space in between the molecules. Whatever shows up for you is perfect. It's just a sign that the energy is starting to move. Mm-hmm. Most of all, have fun. It's really fun. Are you ready to play?
Beautiful. Love it.
All right. Here we go. In love and light, we hold the intention that we automatically and joyfully embody the energy of money consciousness. So we flow with life to experience unlimited prosperity and delight. Thank you, Divine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. We give thanks, and so it is. Wow, that was awesome. What was your experience like, Jackie?
Just bliss.
Oh, yes, that's great. I just felt so much joy bubbling through me. And it's great because my experience of the divine, they always feel like effervescent joy, just happy, over the top, silly, outrageous. It doesn't matter. This is perfect. And whatever we create together is going to be perfect. Well, I am so excited to chat with you for many, many reasons. I mean, as a licensed psychotherapist and a trained coach, and you've been doing this for a little while.
Long time, yeah.
Yeah, you figured out that secret sauce, that missing piece is truly consciousness. So yeah. Why are you so passionate about helping people understand how this works?
Yeah, that's a great question, Elaine, because it's so easy. People don't have to suffer. So as a psychotherapist and as a coach, a lot of what I've dealt with is the human condition, the areas and places that people suffer, whether it's around time or money or relationships or, frustration, overwhelm, self-management. There's so many ways that people suffer because we don't yet live in a time that people fully embrace and understand that the quality of our experience of life is not generated by our circumstances, it is generated by our consciousness. And once people make that shift to understanding that the quality of my life, this moment right now, is not being generated by what's outside of me, it's being generated by what's inside of me. So it could be an experience of being on a podcast. Right now I could be like, oh, why is this taking so long? And I've got so many things to do. And, am I going to say the right things? And should I really be on this podcast anyway? I could choose to use my brain and my consciousness in imposter syndrome. I could choose to use my brain and my consciousness in frustration or anxiety. I'm choosing to use my brain in presence. to just be present. So I'm creating the experience. Be like, well, that's easy, Jackie, because you're here and you're a guest on a podcast and you're familiar with that. Well, let's say I'm stuck in traffic and I have some place that I have to be, and maybe I hadn't given myself enough time to figure out that I might get stuck in traffic. And so I could have the experience of worry and upset and frustration and anger, or I can cultivate the experience of all is well. And, rather than having angst about all the cars around me, send love and peace and blessings and prayers to all of the people around me, including myself. So life is not about your circumstances. It is about the level of consciousness that you cultivate and live inside of.
I love that. It's really interesting. A few years ago, I was going to Weight Watchers. A quick story that I want to share with you. And it was always Saturday morning, really early. I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't drink anything, no coffee. Oh. And my husband would drive me there, and then he would go to Lowe's and hang out in the home, the hardware store while I went to my meeting. And this particular day, we're driving down a long road, lots of stoplights. There's nobody around. I mean, nobody. And for some bizarre reason, we're getting stuck at every single stinking stoplight, every single one. My husband's driving, and I noticed that his knuckles on the steering wheel are getting white, and he's starting to mutter things under his breath about, and I was just like, honey, you know what? I'm on this positivity kick thing, right? So I've decided that every single time we come to a stoplight, there's a really valuable reason for it. There's a blessing in this moment, and it's up to me to figure out what the blessing is. I mean, I really like the flowers that they have in the median. Maybe that would look good in our yard. What about those kids in the car in front? We could make faces at them and be really silly and have fun. And I love seeing that beautiful elderly couple holding hands in the parking lot. Right. It's so lovely. I mean, that's going to be us someday, sweetie.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, red lights. Red lights mean smoochies. I get kisses. Oh, yeah. Bring on lights. You're going to get some jet lips. Let's have some red lights. All it takes is a change in perspective. I still play the red lights game.
Yeah, that's great. But you can't have a change in perspective without a change in consciousness. It really is what comes first before your ability to change your perspective. And, the other reason that I'm so passionate about doing this work, Elaine, and this is more personal, is that this work saved my life. This work saved my life. I like to say I went from hot mess to happy and blessed. But, back in my earlier years, and that's why I first went into psychotherapy before I went into coaching, I was diagnosed with multiple psychiatric diagnoses, including depression and anxiety disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, attention deficit disorder, and even, yes, borderline personality disorder. For those of you who know what that means, you'll be like, whoa, I'm not listening to her. No, mind you, that was a very long time ago. So I do say I went from hot mess to happy and blessed when I stopped feeling and interpreting my life through the lens of I'm the victim of what's happening to me, because there was significant trauma history in my early years that perhaps gave rise to some of the unwell experiences and the kind of tweaked psychology that I had. So I had a lot of early trauma history. And so I went through that whole realm of addictions. I did addictions recovery work. I did psychotherapy work. But it wasn't really until recognizing the kind of the metaphysical truth of energy and consciousness that my life took a dramatic turn for the better. So that's the other reason, is that I was a survivor of domestic violence in my young adult life, recovered from addictions, recovered from multiple psychiatric diagnoses. And I don't say that to say, look at me, I did all that. I'm just saying that because I want to highlight the truth of these principles. There's nothing special about me. I'm not smarter than you or more capable in any way. I promise you, I am not. However, when you use consciousness principles consistently applied, it will absolutely change your life.
Oh man, Jackie, I would never wish what you went through on anyone. And yet you wear your experience with so much grace and so much humility and so much passion, because it truly did open you up to do divine work. And I cannot thank you enough for being willing to be that open and vulnerable with us, because vulnerability, it always feels uncomfortable, and yet it is the greatest strength. Now, I do have to ask you a question, because obviously the name of the show is The Abundance Journey, and we're talking about money and money consciousness. No two people define abundance the same way. Given the kind of work that you do, how would you define abundance?
Sure. To me, abundance is mastering your inner world so that you have access to mastering the outer world. Most people try to master the outer world first. They want to go out and make the money or start the business or have the career success without looking at who am I being in the face of those circumstances, or in the face of that goal or that desire. And when you just chase the outer condition, rather than addressing your inner condition of consciousness, you end up either failing or succeeding and feeling completely empty with it. And I've had coaching clients from both. I've had billionaire coaching clients, literally billionaire coaching clients, who said to me, is this it? This is all it's about? And so for them, I had to help them kind of connect with the deeper meaning in life. And then I've had clients who are like, I've tried everything and I can't get, and for them, I help them with some of the internal structures of how to change their consciousness, and then how to apply structures that are going to bring greater success.
I love that, because you're absolutely right. It is an inside out game. It always starts inside. And it's really interesting. I was blessed to have a stroke and a conversation with our higher power. And the way it was explained to me is that everything is love. Absolutely everything is love. I mean, the pens you use are love. You are love. The universe is love. God is love. Everything is love. So how do you expand love if everything already is love?
Yeah.
You create human beings.
Right. Great.
And human beings don't think everything's love. In fact, we've got a lot of kind of not so pleasant moments that we get to endure. We live in a life of contrast. And that contrast is a gift that allows us to either step back in fear or step forward in love. And every single time we choose to show up as love without knowing what's going to happen, without any expectation, just being love in the moment, we actually expand the divine. This is literally the cutting edge of the divine. This is how the divine grows, is through you and your courage to show up at a higher level of consciousness and be the blessing that you are.
So beautiful. I love that. Showing up as the divine. I say being your God self on earth. So
yes.
We're very much sharing that same message. We are the hands, the feet, the face of God.
Absolutely. And I totally get what you're talking about, because I have a lot of clients that have the same kinds of challenges. What are you noticing are sort of a common denominator, a common symptom that people have before they start working with you? What are they stuck on?
I think a few things. First of all, they don't understand that their condition, that their life quality, the quality of their life is dependent on their level of consciousness. They think that it's something out there, that they need to do something, learn something, have better habits. And that maybe that's true. But what I like to teach people is that we experience life through our energetic consciousness that creates a vibratory pattern. And it is that vibration of our consciousness, our beliefs, emotions, attitudes, and thoughts. It's that beat, B-E-A-T, our beliefs, emotions, attitudes, and thoughts that creates our vibe that connects with the vibratory pattern of life at that level. So the person who believes like, oh, life's a bitch and then you die, connects with life at a certain level where they get to have that experience. I've choose to cultivate the belief that life is always unfolding for a higher good. Higher, not my personal higher good, but a higher good. So because that's my belief, I have like daily miraculous experiences of people and circumstances and material needs just showing up in my world to meet my needs so that I can continue to bring that vibration into the world. So that's the first thing. People don't understand that their outer condition is a reflection of their inner condition. Second thing is, I'll give you three. The second thing is people are confused. People lack clarity about who they are, the truth of who they are as an expression of the divine, and they're very attached to their egoic consciousness. So there's that just kind of lack of clarity, lack of and some confusion. And then the third that I would say is very, very common is overwhelm. People are too busy. They're doing too much. They're trying to do everything. And, even people who are perhaps even in retirement years, like I'm taking that class and I'm in this volunteering here and I'm doing this and I'm so busy. And, busy is the new rich. It's the water that we're swimming in. And we have to recognize the degree to which we are culturally programmed to live in a sense of overwhelm, which of course triggers the ego and quiets that sense of connecting with the divine. So those, there's probably more, but those three leap to mind quickly for me.
And I saw myself in every single one of them. Been there, done that. It's one of these ongoing unfolding, right? We all have had experiences like that. We have all been trapped in those situations. And how wonderful to realize that it's very temporary. You don't have to stay there. You just got on the train and it's leaving. Yeah. It ain't going to stay at the station, not for very long, but you control how long you stay at that station. That's really the kind of control that you have. I want to share a quick story with you because I think it's really relevant. I was in a parking lot, backing up, driving my husband's truck. And it's a big truck. And I'm always nervous about driving it because I don't want to hit anything. So I'm backing up and out of the corner of my eye, I see somebody just racing through that parking lot really fast. So I'm thinking, boy, that's not safe. And so here I am backing slowly, and I hear somebody honk. And I don't know if they were honking at me. I didn't look, but I assumed they were honking at me. And I went from happy, happy, joy, joy to pissed off, like in a nanosecond, just instantly. And I was making up all kinds of stories and outrage about what a jerk and blah, 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 blah. And the divine interrupted me and said, wait a minute, we keep telling you that every single moment is designed to be a blessing for you. Suppose that honk was actually a blessing for you. What could have been happening that would make that honk a blessing for you? I had to think about it for a minute. And I was like, well, maybe I was about to hit something and they didn't have time to put the car in park, jump out, run around, knock out my window. They just stopped me from hurting my car, extra expense, extra time, inconvenience. Yeah, that's a huge blessing. Not having an accident, that's actually a really good blessing. Or maybe it was more like a thumbs up. I had enough room to get out. As it happened, I did. I didn't think I did, but they had a different perspective. And they could see that I could make it. So I cranked on that wheel and I got out of that space. So maybe it was just encouragement. Oh, and then the real message came through. I'm the one who blocks all the blessings. I'm the one who prevents me from experiencing the blessing in the moment because of the story I make up about it.
Yeah.
I can choose to make it a message of love and support, but that's up to me. Nobody can do it for me.
Yeah. That
was a huge wake-up moment for me.
Beautiful. Bring on the blessings.
I know, and they're everywhere. They're everywhere. Now, I have a really important question for you because you're absolutely right. We have to change something inside and raise our consciousness before we get to have the experience that we want on the outside. So what do you notice your clients have to be willing to shift to have that kind of experience, that transformation?
Yeah. They have to be careful not to believe everything they think. People have to understand that their thoughts are not the truth and their emotions don't define them. So your thoughts are just patterns of neurological firing based on past conditions. They're habitual. I call the ego a stimulus response mechanism. Somebody honks the horn, I have an immediate response of what did I do and what's wrong with them and they're an idiot and leave me alone. It's a stimulus response mechanism. And so what people have to be able and willing to shift is that your thoughts are not true. They're just patterns of neurons firing. And you can learn to use your mind to train your brain to actually have a very different inner dialogue with life. That's a whole other conversation. But people have to recognize that the things that you think about yourself in the world are not true. They're not ultimate T, capital T truths, and they're not ultimate beliefs. They're just what you've come to believe. So what they need to be able to shift is their consciousness, their level of consciousness. But what that requires is that they're able to observe and debunk their ongoing internal dialogue and emotional state.
Wow. Oh, that's
And I
a
will
huge
remind
one.
you, this is from someone who overcame chronic long-term depression. So I'm not just like the person who woke up happy every morning. No, I had to really grapple with this, but it is absolute truth that you can learn to use your mind to train your brain to create a different experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I so admire you for what you've been able to create and accomplish in your life and how you're sharing that with others because we need it. We need it now more than ever before. And I think a lot of people are looking at the world and feeling somewhat hopeless. And yet, it's amazing to me how many discoveries and how many really capable, innovative people are coming up with solutions that can transform our world. We just never hear about it. Unfortunately, we tend to share all the things that are wrong instead of sharing all the things that are right.
But that's a choice, right? What you
Yeah.
choose to expose yourself to. So I'm mindful about what I eat. I'm mindful about what I read. I'm mindful about what media I consume. So you really, as you get really committed to growing in consciousness, the first thing you have to do is recognize you have to protect your energetic field and protect your consciousness from the negativity that's out there. Yeah, you could see the world is a hot mess, or you could see, the economy's better than it's ever been, and unemployment rates have been consistently low, and there's no new treatments and medications for long-term illnesses and diseases, and reading levels are improved and hunger is going down. I mean, the statistics about what's happening in the world are much better than the narrative that gets created by the media machine that is trying to teach you, to sell you a narrative of doom and gloom.
Absolutely. They're trying to hook the ego and keep you anxious so that you'll pay attention and they can run more ads. Absolutely. Right. It's a money-making scheme. It has nothing to do with reality.
And you're being programmed by it. And
yes.
If you're committed to having prosperity and abundance, if you're committed to living a transcendent life that's above this fray, you have to be really mindful of what you consume in terms of media.
Oh man, you're bringing in the perfect next question, which I always ask, and that's what's a baby step that we can take that helps us get on the right track? And paying attention to what we're consuming is obviously a really good baby step. Is there anything else you'd recommend?
Sure. I mean, gosh, I could give you 100. So certainly be mindful of what you expose yourself to in relationships, in media, in food. Be really mindful of the energies that you consume. I'm vegetarian because I don't want to consume the meat of animals that have been tortured as they're being killed. So I don't want that energy in my body system. Maybe that sounds a little wacky, but it's just my thing. Yes, the thing that I would say, if I had to choose like one thing, and people say like, "Oh, Jackie, I can't," and it is to meditate. Meditation, if we could bottle and put in a pill all of the gifts of meditation and exercise as well, but I'll just go with meditation, we would all be gazillionaires. Meditation trains you to observe what's happening in your inner world. So people say, well, I can't quiet my mind. Exactly. That's the whole point. That is why they call it a practice. And I want to give you a very specific structure that will help you neurologically, that then can lead to helping you spiritually with your meditation practice. And the practice is this, the structure is this. It's recently been found that 1 minute of meditation done 4 times a day is the neurological equivalent to 20 minutes of seated meditation.
Really?
Mind-blowing. Notice I said neurological equivalent, meaning it will give you the stress reduction and the increase in dopamine and serotonin. It gives you a boost in your immune system. It gives you a decrease in stress and anxiety. 1 minute, 4 times a day. Now, it may not bring you to spiritual enlightenment, but like I said, if you start practicing this, it is a stepping stone to being able to engage in a longer, perhaps more in-depth spiritual practice. But when you start with 1 minute of meditation a day, you start noticing what's happening in your inner world. Like for myself personally, I knew I was a depressive. I was on antidepressant medication and treated for depression. What I didn't know is that my mind tends a lot toward anxiety. And that as I started my meditation practice, of course, I couldn't quiet my mind either, just like everyone else. But my thoughts in my inner world was a lot of like self-judgment, self-criticism, and worry. So it gave me that window. And as I continued to practice, I mean, obviously my inner world is so different today than it ever was. But I highly recommend people start with just 1 minute 4 times a day. And I'll give you even the 4 times. 1 minute before you get out of bed, before you put your feet on the floor. Most people have their phone next to them. So just set a timer for 1 minute. You can even have it preset. So you just push the button. So 1 minute before you get out of bed, 1 minute before you put your hands on the computer for work. Most people use a computer for work, or before you get out of the car if you're commuting to work and don't use a computer. So 1 minute before you start work, 1 minute as you complete your workday. Can be when you get in the car on your commute or before you get out of the car at home. It can be as you take your hands off the computer if you work from home. So 1 minute then, and then 1 minute as you get into bed at night. So that's a very simple structure. And the reason that I'm recommending that is you cannot change what you cannot or are unwilling to see. And meditation gives you that window into being able to observe and then, of course, alter your consciousness.
That is so magical. That is so incredibly magical. And Jackie, I've been doing a practice that I have found really, really powerful that I'm going to invite people to add on top of what you're doing. Take that 1 minute, and as you breathe in, think the words, I am. And as you exhale, think the word presence.
Mm-hmm.
I am presence. I am presence. Because what you are is you're that fire hose that the divine is flowing through. You are able to direct divine energy where it needs to go to bring love and prosperity and delight and wonder into the world. So when you can own that and you can be in that space 4 times a day for 1 minute, I am presence. And then I invite you to journal really quick because messages are going to come through.
Oh, yeah.
I got to tell you, the divine is totally chatty Cathy. When you get them started, they will not stop. And you get some great insights. So take advantage of this time. You are guided. You are loved. You are a blessing. You are magic. And if nothing else proves it, we got to hang out with Jackie today. I mean, how awesome is that? And Jackie, I can't thank you enough because you offered an incredible free gift to everyone. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. And thank you for asking. So I created a process of using, everybody talks about using affirmations. The question is, are you actually doing it? So I created an ebook called 52 Money Vibe Magic Affirmations. And the practice and the process around it is to use one affirmation a week, every week for a year. And as you engage in that, holy cow, does your consciousness and your money vibe, that's what I call it, your money vibe, does your money vibe ever change and elevate? So it's 52 affirmations with some written instruction and how to use affirmations as part. I like to sing mine. One of mine is, I am happy, healthy, wealthy, healed, and whole. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, healed, and whole. So you can walk around singing stupid little jingles as your affirmations. You can write them on sticky notes and put them on the mirror. You can sing them in your car. I used to sing them before I would get on stages to do speaking engagements. I got dubbed the singing speaker. So yeah, because again, I've used this phrase, use your mind to train your brain. So the 52 Money Vibe Magic Affirmations is a year-long process that helps you use your mind to train your brain.
I love that.
Around abundance and prosperity.
Yes.
And by the way, I went from homeless to multiple 7 figures over the course of my process.
And no wonder. Yeah. Look at how elevated your consciousness is. I mean, the words out of your mouth, the brilliant. I have 3 pages of notes. That's amazing. Stuff you shared with us today. Now, we always turn the table on our guests here at the Abundance Journey because we know that when we give is when we truly receive the most. So what can we do to support you?
Well, thank you for asking. I would love to partner with, anyone in your audience around and being your teacher, your mentor, your guide. So you can find me at JackieWoodside.com, and I'm on all the social media platforms, Jackie Woodside Speaker. So I would love to be a part of your life and your walk. I'd love to hear how this podcast episode touched you. You can send me an email at Jackie@JackieWoodside.com. And, certainly I will personally respond and would love to hear how I can be a mentor, a coach, a guide in your life.
That's wonderful. And we'll make sure that all of Jackie's contact information is in the show notes. You don't want to miss that, because there's also going to be a link to her free gift there. And wow, what a magical experience. Jackie, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us today.
Yeah. And, I also want to say what people can do for me is just be kind to one another. Just be kind. Let the ripple effect continue. So thank you, Elaine, for doing this. I'm so honored to be your guest and your partner in creating this time together. So thank you for having me.
Absolute magic. All right, everybody, stick around, because we're going to activate abundance in just a second. Hi, it's Elaine Starling, the Abundance Ambassador, and I know since you're listening to this show or watching this show, The Abundance Journey, you really want to experience more abundance in your life. Well, that's why I wrote the book, 5 Steps to Activate Your Abundance. It's available for sale right now from Amazon, from barnesandnoble.com, and many international sellers. And I want you to pick up a copy, because I'm really opening the kimono here and sharing all of the information you need to experience abundance in every single aspect of your life. The book's divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is called Meeting the Divine. This is where I share my near-death experience and the conversation I got to have with our higher power during my stroke. In Part 2, Messages from the Divine, I share the best practices that I was given, the secret sauce in how life actually works. And so you understand really why you're here and how you can make the most of your life so you love every single moment. And then in the Part 3 is Partnering with the Divine. That's where I go into each of the 5 steps to activate your abundance and explain exactly why it works so well. So take a moment to pick up a copy. It's available as an ebook, a paperback book, an audiobook, and a video course. So however you like to absorb information, abundance is waiting for you. Isn't Jackie amazing? I mean, I feel so incredibly blessed that we got to hang out with her. I got so many awesome notes. I was dithering trying to figure out which one to do the activated bonus segment on. I might have to do like 5 or 6 of these things. Anyway, step 1, gratitude. Gratitude is the acorn of your abundance tree. Gratitude is the beginning of consciousness. Gratitude makes everything happen. And I am so grateful that we got to spend some time with Jackie today. She's amazing. Step 2, acknowledge something you heard that was an aha for you. I loved it when Jackie said, your thoughts are not reality. Your thoughts are made up. Your thoughts are mostly habits. Your thoughts are not real. And I'm looking at my hand and seeing all this red on my hand. No, I didn't have an accident. I made hummingbird food. The coloring got all over my hand. So don't worry about that. The birds are happy. That's what matters. But that point about your thoughts are not reality. They're just a habit. That was, wow, such a good reminder. Step 3, appreciate the difference it can make in your life. Well, when you know that your thoughts are just made up, they're not real, every time you feel that sense of struggle, of strife, that resistance, that's a sign that your level of consciousness needs to step up a bit. This is a growth opportunity. You don't have to stay in struggle. You don't have to stay in the train station. You can tell them to go ahead and move out and keep going because you're ready for something new. I loved that. My thoughts are not my reality. I can change my thoughts anytime I'm ready to. Step 4, activate it. We do that with 3 different ways. You can grab a calendar and schedule time to do it. I think journaling is a brilliant technique to capture your thoughts and really take things out of the head and move it down into the heart. When you write it on a piece of paper, you're much more likely to see how it's made up and how it's not real. And if it's not serving you, if it doesn't sound like love, and it empowers you, then it is make-believe. That's your human self, not your higher self, trying to distract you. That's your ego, not the real you. So it really helps to take the time to write it down, journal. The second way is to create a physical trigger, like crossing your fingers or tugging on your earlobe as a reminder, wait a minute, my thoughts are just made up. No, it's a little bit more awkward for me, so I'm not going to use it this time. The third way is to declare what you're going to do. And it really helps if you have an accountability buddy who can kind of catch you on it and go, hey, that sounded like an unsupportive thought, a negative thought. Do you want to revisit that and maybe consider where your consciousness is coming from right now? Because I know that it's really important to you to up-level your consciousness. And if you can't see it, you can't address it. So it really helps to have an accountability buddy. I'm going to do the first 2. I'm going to do journaling and my accountability buddy, and feel free to call me on it if you see me slipping a little bit. I'm human. I do. It happens. Step 5, celebrate your progress. This is incredible. Your entire life can change when you learn how to manage your thoughts, because your thoughts are a vibration. You want to hone your vibration to the perfect level so that you match money consciousness, and it all flows to you with grace and ease and joy. That's what you deserve, and that's what we want for you. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you next time for the Abundance Journey.
You've been listening to the Abundance Journey Show with Elaine Starling. Visit theabundancejourney.com/podcast gifts to access today's gift, as well as gifts from our other guests. Tune in every week to activate abundance in your life and business. If something resonated with you, please share it with your friends so they can benefit too. Keep activating abundance, and we'll see you in the next episode.